Hey y'all. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day as you are listening to this video. I'm Shantae, and this is the Earthly and Ethereal channel. I changed the name of this channel because it more reflects where I'm at right now in my life, where I'm balancing my earthly self with my cosmic self. And for me, I think that's very important because what I've been really confronting lately is the idea of really figuring out how to stay on task with my soul's journey, which is ultimately what mm, it's ultimately what I kind of look as my main purpose is, fulfilling my soul's journey through this human experience. So sometimes the human experience does, trump the soul's journey. And that has been something I've been working on being a little bit more mindful about because I don't ever want that to be, I don't ever want to be so focused on this human experience that I forget my purpose, my true purpose. So that's why balance is key for me lately. Balancing this very important, this very, meaningful earthly experience with my more cosmic guidance, reaching for my higher self in everything I do, right? Or at least attempting to. And that's why I'm coming to y'all today too, because I want to talk to you guys about something I'm navigating right now in life, and I'd like to have these like vibrational check-ins consistently with y'all because I feel like we're all dealing with certain things, and one of the things that I'm trying to be more intentional about is utilizing my cosmic knowledge to help me in my human experience. And what I mean by that is tapping into the information, the inner information, right? The inner knowing, but also tapping into the things that I've acquired in knowledge or reawakened through, actually seeking information, seeking knowledge, and seeking guidance through whether it's through people, books, and really applying them to my life. And I think that's important because that is for me how I think we connect the dots when it comes to merging that human walk with our soul journey. So, one of the areas for me, y'all, another thing, I do really believe that as we kind of evolve and become more comfortable with these conversations that we have about spirituality amongst a certain group of people, I feel like it's important for us to have accountability, and really be able to say, okay, I speak from a place of XYZ because I've been through XYZ. A lot of times we hide our scars and we're like, we don't want to show the things we've been through because it's a reflection of, or we think it's a reflection of our shortcomings. But the truth is, if you truly understand what we're here for, we're here to accumulate experiences. But the key, and this is where everything becomes important, the key is to evolve through those experiences. The key is to grow. The key is to really stretch your soul through those experiences. But you can't do that if you're not willing to admit that, hey, I've had some effed up ish occur, right? Because the ego says that's not cool. Well, here on this page, we embrace not being cool. Because in my life, I embrace not being cool. I embrace being human. I embrace seeing myself from a higher perspective, right? And understanding that my human self is out here figuring shit out, but I'm kind of signaling the information as I accumulate it to my higher self so that I can operate better as I move along, right? And for me, I'm very clear on the areas that I have weaknesses. I'm clear on my strengths, but I'm also clear on my weaknesses. I'm a very self aware person, I'll say that. Um, and because of that, I try to get stronger in the areas where I would consider myself to be weak. But at the same time, I'm a human being. Not to like use that as an excuse, but it's the truth. So, and with that, I understand that as a human being, as a soul being, having a human experience, there are times when you have to just pause and really reflect to see if you are operating from that higher self. And an area for me where I often have to pause is in relationships. Y'all, that's my struggle, okay? And not even like just romantic relationships. I'm talking about relating to people in general, but also on a romantic stance, on a just in general, and I know for me because I know myself as it pertains to like my natal chart. I know the astro scientific part of myself. So I know what my struggles are. I know what I've come here to accomplish. So, but as I navigate or I attempt to navigate like relationships and relating, sometimes I fall into the human self and the ego self, and I forget to operate from that higher self because after all, it's a default thing. And one of the things that I have been trying to do is pause and just reflect and take a minute to just like question, you know, what and why, and ask myself, am I actually coming from a perspective that is best for me? Because sometimes what happens is that we want something so bad that we forget that maybe that thing is not it's not for you, and that is so important because the flesh is very the flesh can be very manipulative. So it's important to do those check-ins because you want to always make sure that you're not wanting something for the pure and utter fact of your flesh. And what I have had to find out is like, okay, how does this situation serve your higher self? And that is literally like the most striking question you can probably ask yourself when you're dealing with other people. How does this connection, this relationship, how does it serve your higher self? And there are some people who would not even care how it serves their higher self. Those people are probably not the people that someone who was asking that question would want to be in any sort of intimate relationship with, whether it's on a friendship level or on a romantic level or platonic level, because that tells you that that soul, that human, right, that soul operating in that human vessel has not yet connected the dots, right? So they're still kind of making their way through this experience. And if you believe in things like reincarnation, they're probably going to come back a couple more times. They probably got a few more rounds to go before they start to really connect the dots. Because one thing that I have realized, y'all, is that there's levels to this. Like, there's levels, and not every human being will reach a state of soul maturity in this lifetime that you deal with. That's why sometimes you can be talking to someone who is two, 3 times your age, and they still have a very limited perspective. Their mindset is still very narrow, right? They haven't widened their scope yet. And it's like, wow, like I can't even really have certain conversations with this person because they're not even emotionally mature enough to handle it. And you learn to adjust to it's like learning to adjust to a toddler, right? You learn that, okay, I have to pad the house. I have to set certain things up. I got to make sure the cabinets have safety things on them. I have to, because you're trying to accommodate a toddler, right? And we're the same way. Although we are not necessarily toddlers, our souls sometimes are still in the toddler stage, and sometimes we're out here as big grown people and our souls are still toddlers, and we're still trying to figure certain things out. And then sometimes we run into an individual who may or may not in their human state look older than us or younger than us while we're in our soul toddler phase, and they're more advanced and have a more spiritual adaptiveness than someone who's older than them would. And I've had that issue, and for me, I've learned that you have to respect people's journey. You have to respect people's journey. You have to respect where you meet people at. That's it. Period. There is no trying to make them, help them, push them. No. If you truly know anything about being on a soul's journey, it is exactly that. My daughter had a vocabulary test today, and one of the words that she had on her vocabulary test was the word soul, SOLE. And that word I only remember because I had to help her study last night. That word means like alone, singular, solo. And that is truly what the soul's journey is. It is your singular journey. The SOUL is no different than the word SOLE. It is your journey. And although we may, impact each other, help each other, influence each other, inspire each other, definitely heavy on the inspire, because we inspire each other so much through this journey, through our connections, through our, being around each other, even now through technology. But as far as, making or willing someone into something or maturing, it's impossible. And it's a waste of your spiritual energy if you really understand. So what I've been learning to do in relationships and in relating is have a mindset of detachment, practicing the art of detachment, honoring and detaching. So in honoring and detaching, I understand that everyone has their own personal journey, and it is my job to honor my journey, and it is the next person's job to honor their journey. Sometimes our journeys will connect, and when they do, we go through a period of assessments. Okay, are these two paths going to be an ongoing connection, or is it just maybe an intersection, just a temporary intersection of two paths for a moment in time? And whatever the outcome is, we honor it, but we detach because we understand that even in circumstances where it's a lifetime thing, right? We decide to just hitch your cart to someone's wagon for this entire journey. Even in that instance, we call that marriage, or some of us just call it long-term relationships. Even in that instance of commitment, you must understand the art of detachment, because even when we are committed to each other, we are still, or we should still be dedicated to our soul journey. I don't believe that there is ever an instance where we should abandon ourselves for the sake of connection, for the sake of relation, for the sake of, being in partnership. And that's where I kind of have gotten it wrong, because I'm an all in kind of girl. I'm an all in kind of girl. I operate from my heart space, those that know, I operate from my heart space, and that is what comes most natural to me. And what has been important has been for me to balance that, because if you're always operating from one set, whether it's your head space, your heart space, your loins, your nether regions, is all too much of anything is just not good, So balance is key. But society tells us, especially as women, that you should be like that. You should be nice all the time. Actually, no, you should not be nice. You should be balanced. You should be kind, right? And sometimes kindness means not being so kind in terms of what we consider to be kind, or not being so nice, rather. But that has been the key for me, has been finding that balance, and also understanding and honoring the connection, honoring the partnership, but also having a sense of detachment and commitment to my own journey. And yeah, I just wanted to share that. And I wanted to share that because I just had an interesting exchange with someone who, um, I would say this person is special, or was special to, we were special to each other. But there comes a point where you meet yourself, you meet another version of yourself sometimes. And that version of yourself does not necessarily want to move forward in the same space or with the same cycles. And that means that you're evolving. And there is a beautiful gift that we can appreciate when someone comes into our lives and help us to evolve. That is beautiful. And rather than seeing, something coming to an end, or something coming to a close as like this terrible thing, or this, heartbreaking event, where we just torture ourselves with memories and the what ifs and all these things, all the things, or is it just me? Okay. um, Instead, we honor the evolution. We honor the gift that they came to provide, which is through, however which way, growth of our soul. And when you meet a new version of yourself that was propelled by a connection to someone else, you simply say thank you to that soul, and you start to honor and move in the way of that new version of yourself, so that the purpose will be fulfilled. Because remember, we're all here to fulfill a higher divine purpose. And it's that simple. It's that complicated and that simple at the same time, right? But honoring that, I think, will help us to remove a lot of like the pain and the human things that we go through, the ego things that we go through when we are, quote unquote, relating or attempting to have relationship. So I just wanted to offer that perspective as we are, moving into this new energy that is around the corner with the spring, and what some would consider to be the cosmic new year, right? Kind of shedding the things that no longer serves us, but also honoring what they brought to the table, what they brought to our lives, what they brought to the experience, and closing those chapters in a way that honors the way it served you. And to me, I mean, what more can you ask for? Long gone are the days that we should be out here crying over relationships lost, feeling less than over, situations that didn't pan out the way that we thought it would. Because we have to understand, we have to understand that it's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. And here's a perspective that I really want you guys to think about, right? Let's say you fight for a relationship. You know how they always tell you have to fight for your marriage? First of all, stop. If you are in a marriage that you're fighting for, please stop. Please. Yeah. Thank you. Um, let's say and things are finally working out the way that you want them to, for whatever issues, whatever egotistical issues that you and this other person fought to get past. You get past it, and things are good, and you get 5 good years with them. Well, let's say 10 good years, but you spent about 15 years prior fighting for that relationship, fighting for that situation, and you get 5 or 10 more good years with them, right? And then you get sick or you pass away. And in your evaluating your life's journey, if you guys watch near death experiences like I do, I'm obsessed with them. People always talk about like having these like thing, where you kind of pan over your life and you kind of just see it. They always talk about having that moment. So you have that moment and you realize that, oh my gosh, I spend so much of my emotions, my vitality, my strength. I poured so much into fighting, being in warlike mode over a relationship, over another person, that I forgot to love on myself. And it cost me because it put a lot of wear and tear on my heart. All those broken hearts. Let's say the person was a cheater, habitual cheater. Every time they cheat on you, your heart is broken. Literally, your heart gets broken, torn a little bit, right? Or the stress gave you stomach ulcers, or it put wear and tear on your organs, because we don't talk enough about how these situations, right, these relationships that we fight for, we don't talk enough about the impact that they have on our physical body. It's not just emotions that we're dealing with here. We're dealing with actual physical wear and tear on the human body, on your organs, on your blood, on your bones, on your chemistry, your chemical balancing, like all the things. And you realize that you literally cut years off your life, fighting for this relationship when you could have had bliss. Release that relationship, because when something serves you, when something has reached its pinnacle point of serving you, serving its purpose in your life, it will then it will no longer hold space. So it's like trying to hold on, trying to grab water. And you're fighting to hold on to water. And if you would have just released it, right? If you would have just released it and honor what it brought to your life, really sit and appreciate that. Like, okay, it brought this to my life. It brought me a sense of value. It made me start to value myself more. It made me understand what my boundaries are. This relationship, because I didn't like how I felt when they did X, Y, and Z, I realized that I needed to start using my throat chakra more and speak up more for myself. But not just speak up for myself. Maybe I need to advocate more for people in general, because now I know what it feels like to not have a voice. Like, really sit and think about things on a wider perspective than just, I like this man. I want this man. I want this woman. And that life that was cut short, perhaps could have been a life that was filled with so much love, so much joy. You could have touched so much people, changed so much people. And maybe at some point, you would have connected to something solid, something real, something good, something meant for you, something meant to hold space for the new version of you that you wouldn't even let come to life because you were too busy holding on to someone else. Let it go. Let it go with love. Let it go. I love the concept of conscious uncoupling. I think I first heard about it with like Gwyneth Paltrow when she was divorcing Steve Martin. She talked about conscious uncoupling. If anybody knows, if you're from that age, you know that Gwyneth Paltrow used to be that girl. I love me a little Gwyneth Paltrow. And do you guys know that her and B used to be besties? Fun fact. But she had this concept of conscious uncoupling. And I love that. Me personally, I love that, because how can you ever leave someone after having spent time, energy, love with another human? How could you just detach in a way that's just like whatever, it didn't even matter? No, no. We can we can still be in a space of love, but also be in a space of, it's time to go. It's time to go with love, with love. And what that looks like is, let's not bring our ego into this. Let's not bring toxicity into this. Let's not bring, the fighting, the bickering, all of those things. Let's just love each other enough to say it was beautiful. It meant a lot. And I wish you the best. And I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for your soul to win. And when I see that happening in my heart, I feel joy, because this extension, this other human who has now become an extension of what I see as love in the world, is happy and flourishing. I love that for you. I mean that. Like, when I was able to get to that place in relationships, and it's not easy, especially if Especially if you are just, if maybe that person is there and you're not there, it's not easy. But let me tell you guys a secret. If you lean into that, you will get there too. You will get there too. And sometimes you'll get there at a rate that is like disgustingly faster than they are there. Because you realize, wait a minute. If I call my power back to me, I get to I get to be this new version of me with the collected experience from that version. And she is fucking amazing. All right, y'all. I know that was a long convo. Thank you guys for listening. I do want to let you know I am going to be doing a Venus reclamation fast. I did it last year. It was a Venus reset that we did with the Taurus Venus. This year we're doing it with the Venus in retrograde, retrograding through Aries into Pisces. And this is going to be all about reclamation of our power, of our energy, of our financial blessings, all the things that we have put out, we are calling it back. All the things that we have given away, we are calling it back to us 10 times more, right? So if you are ready to do a reset, we're going to use the love of Venus, which Venus is all about connecting to our, I feel like connecting to the best version of ourselves, right? Through the energy of our possessions, through our financial blessings, through our even our beauty. This is a beautiful time for even women, especially women, to call back that energy and kind of work on maybe even some womb wellness, using that energy of Aries, that fire energy of Aries, using that water energy of Pisces to kind of call back to us what is ours, reclaim. And if you know anything about what's going on right now in the world, I know a lot of things in the world right now are a little crazy, but understand that the bigger picture is that this is a time of reclamation. Bigger picture. But the key is don't let people dictate for you what your blessings will be, what your gifts will be. Call in what you want. Even if you don't do the Venus reclamation with me, call in what you want and be sure, be 100% confident in what you're calling back to you. Okay? All right, y'all. Have a good rest of your week. I'll see if I can do another video someday this week, but I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week and wishing you all divine wellness. Bye-bye.